The human soldier didn't know the alien woman. Given to him as a slave was actually a princess, Alex. Morgan wiped sweat from his brow as he finished cleaning his weapon. The sounds of celebration echoed through the massive Vexari warship. Human and alien soldiers alike were rejoicing after their joint victory against the Krell raiders. Alex, however, preferred the quiet of the armory to the noisy gathering in the main hall. A shadow fell across the workbench. Alex looked up to see Commander Zortax, the Vexari officer who had led the mission. The alien stood nearly 7 feet tall, his blue skin marked with elaborate patterns that signified his rank. You do not join the festivities. Human. The commander's voice was deep with an odd musical quality. Just finishing up here, sir, Alex replied carefully. The alliance between humans and the Vexari was still new, still fragile. Humans had only been fighting alongside the aliens for 6 months, ever since the Krell began targeting both their worlds. The commander made a clicking sound with his throat, a sign of approval. Alex had learned. You fought well today. Your actions saved many Vexari lives, the way you charged the Krell position. Such bravery deserves recognition. Thank you, sir. Just doing my job. The Vexari tilted his head, the ridges along his forehead catching the light. Such modesty. The commander gestured toward the door. Come, a gift awaits you. Alex knew better than to refuse. He followed the tall alien through the corridors of the ship. Other Vexari nodded respectfully as they passed. Some looked at Alex with curiosity, others with what might have been respect. Hard to tell with aliens. The commander led him to the diplomatic section of the ship where high-ranking officers had their quarters. This was not a place enlisted humans like Alex were normally allowed. They entered a large chamber decorated with strange artifacts and glowing crystals. Several Vexari officers stood in a semicircle. They parted as Alex and the commander entered. As is our custom, Commander Zortax announced, a warrior who brings great honor receives a gift. The officers clicked their approval. Alex felt suddenly uncomfortable, unsure of the protocol. Would he be given a weapon? Some alien treasure? The circle of officers opened and 2 guards entered. Between them walked a female Vexari. Her skin was a lighter shade of blue than the male's. Her eyes were striking golden and luminous. The ridges on her forehead were more delicate, forming an intricate pattern. She wore simple clothing, unlike the elaborate uniforms of the officers. Her wrists were bound with thin silver bands. This one is called Nylara, the commander said. She has caused much trouble, but she will serve you well. Human. Alex stared, realization dawning. A slave. They were giving him a person. I cannot accept such a gift, he began carefully. The commander made a sharp, cutting gesture. It is decided this honors both you and her. You will take her. Alex knew enough about Vexari culture to recognize the danger of refusal. It would be seen as rejecting not just the gift but the honor, the respect, the alliance itself. He thought quickly. I am deeply honored by this gesture. He said, bowing slightly. I accept with gratitude. The commander seemed pleased. The binding bands were ceremonial. Apparently Nylara could have removed them easily, but she stood motionless, eyes downcast. As the officers filed out, Commander Zortax paused at the door. She speaks your language well enough, but remember, human, she is Vexari. Not human, she requires special sustenance. The items will be delivered to your quarters. Then Alex was alone with the alien woman. You can take those off, he said, gesturing to the bands when the door closed. Nylara looked at him suspiciously, but removed the silver circles from her wrists. Her movements were graceful, fluid, almost like water. Listen, Alex said. I don't want a slave. I don't believe in owning people. The alien woman tilted her head, studying him. Her golden eyes seemed to look through him, rather than at him. You refuse the gift, she asked finally. Her voice was indeed musical, with an accent that made her words flow together. I accept the gift to avoid causing problems, Alex explained. But you are not my property. You are free to do as you wish. Nylara took a step closer to him. Her height nearly matched his own, unusual for a Vexari female from what he'd seen. You are strange, human, Alex sighed. The name's Alex Morgan. She nodded slowly. Alex Morgan. You are strange. Yeah, so I've been told, look, we need to figure this out. I can't exactly send you back without starting an incident. The Vexari woman walked around the room examining the alien decorations with apparent disinterest. You would not be the first human to own a Vexari, she said. Your kind took many of us as trophies after the border skirmishes. That was different. Alex protested. That was before the Alliance. Those were prisoners of war. Not slaves. Nylara made a sound like bells tinkling. It took Alex a moment to realize. She was laughing. What is the difference, she asked. The result is the same. No freedom. Alex ran a hand through his short brown hair. Listen, I don't know what your story is or why they were so eager to get rid of you, but I'm not going to treat you like property. So let's start over. Corporal Alex Morgan, Earth Defense Force, and you are Nylara. Paused, considering. For now, Nylara will suffice. That was cryptic, but Alex decided not to push. Better get you to my quarters before someone realizes I don't intend to keep you as a slave. The Vexari ships were massive structures, more like floating cities than vessels. The human quarters were located in a separate section, deliberately isolated from the main Vexari population. Alex led Nylara through the winding corridors, trying to ignore the curious looks from both humans and aliens they passed. His quarters were small but private, a luxury not afforded to most corporals. The room contained a bed, a small table, 2 chairs, and little else. It's not much, he said, feeling suddenly self-conscious. Nylara examined the space. The quarters are adequate. There was something about the way she spoke, the precise way she formed sentences, the careful way she held herself. It didn't match what Alex would expect from someone given away as a slave. How did you end up as a gift, he asked. The alien woman sat in one of the chairs, her posture perfect. I displeased certain individuals. That tells me nothing. Nylara tilted her head, her golden eyes reflecting the room's harsh lighting. Perhaps that is all you need to know for now. A chime at the door interrupted them. Alex opened it to find a service bot holding a container. The supplies for your Vexari, it announced in its mechanical voice. Alex took the container. Thanks. Inside, he found packets of blue gel food supplements for Vexari physiology and a small device with instructions in both Vexari and English A translator. It seemed the commander had thought of everything. Over the next few days they established an uneasy routine. Alex continued his duties with the joint human Vexari combat team. Nylara remained in his quarters. The official story was that she was his servant, a gift from the Vexari High Command. The other humans gave him knowing looks, some with disapproval, others with envy. Alex ignored them all. At night they would talk. Nylara was knowledgeable about surprising things: Vexari politics, military strategy, interstellar navigation. Her accent faded, revealing a sophisticated vocabulary. She carried herself with a natural authority that made Alex increasingly curious about her true identity. One evening, as they shared a meal, Alex noticed her watching him with particular intensity. Why did you join this war? She asked suddenly. Alex considered. The question: my planet was attacked. People I cared about died. I wanted to make a difference. Nylara nodded slowly. Your kind are strange. You fight like demons, yet speak of peace. You kill without hesitation, yet show mercy to enemies. You are contradictions. With weapons, Alex smiled. That might be the most accurate description of humans I've ever heard. The alien woman leaned forward. You particularly interest me, Alex Morgan. You fought alongside Vexari Special Forces during the Battle of Ceres Ridge. No human had done this before. Many said it was impossible. Yet you not only survived, you saved Commander Zortax. Life Alex shifted uncomfortably. How do you know about that? Nylara sat back. Everyone knows, the human who charged a Krell position alone, drawing fire so the Vexari could flank them. The pale demon they call you. I was just in the right place at the right time. The Vexari made that laughing sound again. No. You chose to risk your life for aliens you barely knew. That is why they gave me their most valuable. She stopped abruptly. Most valuable, what Alex asked. Nylara stood suddenly, her movements tense. Something is wrong. She moved to the door, placing her ear against it. Alex was about to question her when the ship's alarms began to wail. The harsh sound echoed through the metal corridors. The ship is under attack. Nylara said, her voice suddenly commanding, "We must move now." The human soldier didn't know the alien woman. Given to him as a slave was actually a princess. Alex grabbed his sidearm from its lockbox. The alarms continued their urgent wailing. He had been through enough combat situations to recognize the sound of a ship in distress. What kind of attack, he asked, slipping into soldier mode. Not an attack, Nylara replied, moving with sudden urgency through his quarters. She opened panels he hadn't even realized existed, searching for something. A coup. Who? Would she cut him off with a sharp gesture? Finding a small hidden compartment behind his bed, she removed what looked like a data chip. Trust me, Alex Morgan. We have little time. The ship shuddered beneath them. The lights flickered, then stabilized. How? Do you know these things? Alex demanded as she pressed the chip into a slot on her wrist. A holographic display appeared briefly, then vanished. Who are you really? Nylara looked at him, her golden eyes intense. I told you I displeased certain individuals. Those individuals are attempting to take control of this ship, and when they do, they will kill me. And you, why me? Because you were given me, and because of what you represent. The human hero. The pale demon who fights alongside Vexari. You are a symbol of the alliance they seek to destroy. Alex processed this. They were going to have to move fast. If this was truly an internal Vexari power struggle, humans would be caught in the middle, potentially used as pawns or worse, eliminated as complications. We need to get to the human section, he said. They won't risk attacking other humans directly. The alliance is too important. Nylara shook her head. The paths will be blocked. They will have secured all main corridors. Then what do you suggest? She moved to the wall panel again, pressing a sequence. The wall slid open, revealing a narrow passage. All Vexari ships have service tunnels, she explained, for maintenance drones. How do you know about these? Nylara gave him a look that suggested the question was foolish. I studied ship schematics, she replied simply. Alex decided further questions could wait. They entered the narrow tunnel, Nylara leading with surprising confidence. The passage was dimly lit by strips of bioluminescent material along the floor. The air was stale but breathable. They moved in silence for what felt like hours, though Alex knew it could only have been minutes. The sounds of the ship changed. Around them they could hear the occasional burst of weapons fire, shouted commands in the guttural Vexari language. The coup was not going as smoothly as the plotters had hoped. Where are we going? Alex whispered as they paused at a junction. The communication hub, Nylara replied. I must contact the Supreme Commander. The Supreme Commander, the leader of all Vexari. Why would he speak with you? Nylara's eyes flashed in the dim light. Because I am Nylara Vex Tyran, first daughter of the Supreme Commander and heir to the Vexari Empire. Alex stared at her, the words slowly sinking in. Princess, he managed finally. Nylara nodded once, a regal gesture that suddenly seemed completely natural to her. Yes, now you understand. But how? Why would General Zorix and his faction abducted me 3 cycles ago? She explained. They planned to use me as leverage against my father. When that failed, they decided to hide me. Giving me to you was clever. They knew you would treat me well. Your reputation preceded you, and they could always reclaim me when needed. Alex felt his world shifting. His slave was royalty, the daughter of the most powerful alien in known space. And she had been living in his quarters for days. You could have told me, he said. Nylara shook her head. I needed to be certain of you. Humans are unpredictable. Some might have used such knowledge for personal gain. A distant explosion rocked the tunnel. Dust and debris rained down on them. We must keep moving, Nylara said. We are nearly there. They continued through the service tunnels, occasionally passing small maintenance robots that paid them. No attention. At one junction, they encountered two Vexari soldiers, their blue skin paler than Nylara's, their uniforms bearing the insignia of the engineering corps. Princess One began surprise evident in his voice, but never finished. Alex moved instinctively, years of combat training taking over. His first strike caught the alien in the throat. The second soldier reached for his weapon, but Nylara was faster. Her movements fluid and practiced. She struck the soldier with precision, hitting what must have been a vulnerable point. The Vexari collapsed unconscious. "You have combat training," Alex observed as they continued. "All royal children are trained in defense." Nilara explained, "We are valuable targets." They reached what appeared to be a dead end. Nilara placed her hand against a panel. The wall slid open, revealing a small chamber filled with communications equipment. "Only royal blood can access this room," she explained, moving to the control panel with practiced ease. "This is how I know they never intended to keep me as a true slave. They needed me alive for access." She worked quickly, establishing a secure channel. The large screen flickered to life. The image of an older Vexari appeared. His ridge markings were elaborate and imposing. His eyes, the same golden hue as Nylara's father, she said in her native tongue. Then switching to English for Alex's benefit. "The coup is happening now. General Zorix leads them. Commander Zortax is involved. They plan to break the human alliance." The Supreme Commander's expression remained neutral, but his eyes betrayed emotion. "Daughter, we believed you dead." He looked at Alex. "The human beside you, he helped me father without knowing who I am. He is honorable." The commander studied Alex. "Is this true?" "Human." Alex straightened. Meeting the alien's gaze, "I just did what anyone would do." Sir Nilara shook her head. "No," she said firmly. "No other would have done the same." More explosions sounded closer now. The ship shuddered violently. The Supreme Commander spoke rapidly, giving orders to someone off-screen, then to Alex Human. "I entrust my daughter to your care until my forces secure the ship. The Imperial fleet approaches but will not arrive for 2 standard hours. You must keep her safe." The screen went dark. Alex checked his weapon. "We can stay here." "They might trace the communication." Nylara nodded in agreement. "Where can we go?" Alex considered their options. The human section would be watched. The Vexari military areas would be controlled by the coup forces. There was one place. They might not look immediately. The cargo bay, he decided, the lower levels where they store decommissioned equipment. It's rarely used, big enough to hide in. Has multiple exit points. Nylara nodded. It is a wise choice. They returned to the service tunnels, moving downward through the massive ship. The sounds of conflict grew more distant as they descended into the ship's bowels. Alex tried to process everything he'd learned. His alien slave was a princess. The Vexari alliance was fracturing. He was now responsible for the safety of perhaps the most valuable alien in the galaxy. When they reached the cargo bay, Alex was relieved to find it deserted. Mountains of containers and equipment created a labyrinth of potential hiding spots. He led Nylara to a section containing outdated environmental suits. They could hide there, and the suits would mask their heat signatures from sensors. "Tell me about General Zorix," Alex said, as they settled into their hiding spot. "Why stage a coup?" Now Nylara sat gracefully despite their cramped surroundings. "General Zorix belongs to the old faction. Those who believe Vexari should rule alone. They see the alliance with humans as weakness. They were powerful once, but my father has pushed for cooperation with other species, especially humans. They lost influence when your people proved themselves in battle against the Krell. Their position weakened further, and Commander Zortax, he is Zorix's nephew." She sighed, a surprisingly human gesture. They never expected a human to fight so fiercely for Vexari. Lives what you did at Ceres Ridge. It changed many minds, made many question Zorix's isolationist views. That is why they had to act. Their power was slipping away. Alex leaned back against a container. "So I was given a princess as a slave because I was too good at my job." Nylara's lips curled in what might have been a smile. "Your skills made you unpredictable, the perfect guardian." They believed you would protect me without knowing my true value. And when the time was right, they would reclaim me to use against my father. And now we wait for my father's forces, Alex. But not passively. She removed the data chip from her wrist. This contains access codes to the ship's systems. We can use them to help. My father's loyalists, Alex studied her face in the dim light of the cargo bay. You were never helpless, were you? Nilara met his gaze. I am a princess of the Vexari Empire. I was taught strategy before I could walk, politics before I could speak. I allowed them to think me broken. It gave me time to plan. The ship suddenly lurched violently. Alarms blared with new urgency. The lighting switched to emergency mode, bathing everything in red. That's not good, Alex said, standing. What now? Nilara checked her holographic display. They have damaged the propulsion systems. The ship is falling out of stable orbit. How long do we have? Not long. She looked up at him. We must reach the emergency control room. We can stabilize the orbit from there. Alex nodded. But if we leave this hiding spot, we will die if we stay, she countered, simply later rather than sooner. They moved quickly through the cargo bay toward the maintenance lifts. The emergency lighting cast strange shadows, making navigation difficult. Twice they had to hide as groups of armed Vexari passed, clearly searching for something. Or someone. When they reached the lift, Alex pressed the call button. Nothing happened. Power to the lifts is cut, Nilara observed. We must use the maintenance ladders. Alex groaned. Inwardly, the ship had over 30 decks. They would need to climb at least 15 to reach the emergency control room. Then we better start climbing, he said. The human soldier didn't know the alien woman. Given to him as a slave, was actually a princess. The maintenance shaft was narrow and poorly lit. Alex climbed ahead of Nilara, his muscles burning from the exertion. The ship's emergency systems continued to blare warnings in both Vexari and human languages. Warning: orbital decay imminent, the automated system announced. Seek emergency evacuation pods. We need to move faster. Alex called down to Nilara. How many more decks? 7. She replied, her voice showing no sign of fatigue despite the climb. Her Vexari physiology clearly gave her advantages in endurance. As they climbed, Alex tried to make sense of the situation. He had started the day as a simple soldier. Now he was protecting an alien princess during a coup while their ship plummeted toward the planet below. Not exactly what he'd signed up for when he joined the Earth Defense Force. They reached a sealed hatch marked with Vexari symbols. Alex didn't recognize. What does it say? He asked. Restricted access, Nilara translated, security monitoring. She placed her palm against the scanner. The hatch remained locked. She frowned. That is unexpected. Let me try, Alex said. He examined the hatch, finding a manual override. He strained against the lever, using all his strength until something gave way. With a metallic groan, the hatch swung open. They entered a darkened corridor. Emergency lights provided minimal visibility. Alex moved cautiously, his sidearm ready. Nilara followed close behind. This section seems abandoned, she whispered. The ship shuddered violently again, throwing them both against the wall. We're running out of time. Alex said, we need to find that control room. They continued down the corridor, reaching a junction. Nilara pointed left. Following the ship's schematics, this should lead to the emergency control center. As they rounded the corner, they came face to face with 3 Vexari soldiers. The aliens reacted immediately, raising their weapons down. Alex shouted, pushing Nilara to the floor. As energy bolts sizzled over their heads, he fired 3 quick shots. 2 of the soldiers fell. The third took cover behind a bulkhead. Stay here, Alex ordered. He rolled to the opposite side of the corridor, using a damaged console for cover. He exchanged fire with the remaining soldier. Nilara ignored his command. Instead, she circled behind, using the shadows for concealment. The Vexari soldier focused on Alex, not noticing her approach. Until she was upon him, her movements were precise, deadly. The soldier collapsed without a sound. Alex stared at her as she rejoined him. I told you to stay back. Nylara gave him a look that somehow managed to be both regal and amused. I am not accustomed to taking orders, Corporal. Even from those trying to protect me. They continued toward the control room, the ship lurching more frequently now, the hull groaning under the stress of atmospheric entry. When they reached the emergency control center, they found the door sealed. Nylara immediately went to work on the access panel, her fingers moving with practiced skill. How long will that take? Alex asked, keeping watch on the corridor. Not long, she replied. The systems recognize my genetic signature, but the coup forces have added security protocols. I must bypass the ship. Rocked violently, alarms increasing in volume warning. Critical orbital decay emergency landing protocols initiated, the system announced. What does that mean? Alex asked. It means, Nylara said, without looking up from her work, that the ship will attempt to land rather than crash. The autopilot will seek the least populated area, but the landing will be far from gentle. The door suddenly slid open, revealing a circular room filled with control consoles. Most were dark. Only the central emergency station glowed with power. Nylara moved to it immediately. Can you stop the descent? Alex asked, taking position by the door. Not entirely, she replied, her hands flying over the controls. But I can adjust our trajectory. Make the landing less catastrophic. Alex watched the corridor. The ship was in chaos, the perfect cover for Zorek's men to find and eliminate the princess. He checked his weapons charge. Enough for a few more shots. Not nearly enough if they encountered serious resistance on the main screen. A planetary surface grew larger. The blue-green world below must be Vexari Prime, the homeworld of Nylara's people. I have partial control, Nylara announced. We are still going to crash land, but I can direct us toward the endless plains away from population. Centers. Alex nodded, keeping his attention on the corridor. He heard footsteps approaching, heavy armored footsteps. We have company, he warned. Nylara didn't look up. Keep them busy for 2 more minutes. I need to finalize the landing coordinates. Alex took cover beside the door. 3 Vexari soldiers appeared at the far end of the corridor, their armor marked with Zorek's insignia. They spotted him immediately. Energy weapons discharged, filling the air with the scent of ozone. Alex returned fire carefully, conserving ammunition. His third shot found a gap in one soldier's armor. The alien fell. The others took cover, continuing to fire. How much longer? Alex called. Almost done, Nylara replied. Then the ship bucked violently, throwing Alex off balance. A bolt of energy struck the wall inches from his head. The ship's automated voice spoke again. Warning impact in 60 seconds, brace for emergency landing. Alex fired his last 2 shots, forcing the Vexari soldiers back into cover. Nylara appeared beside him, her task complete. We must reach the impact harnesses, she said. They ran down a side corridor as the ship began to shake uncontrollably. The emergency harnesses were built into the walls, designed to protect crew during crashes. Nylara helped Alex into one, then secured herself in another beside him. The ship screamed as it tore through the atmosphere. Metal groaned as the hull heated. Beyond the small viewport, Alex could see flames licking past as friction turned the outer hull white-hot. Hold on, Nylara shouted above the noise. It will be a hard landing. The impact when it came was like nothing Alex had ever experienced. The ship struck the ground with tremendous force. His harness dug into his shoulders as it absorbed the deceleration. Then came a second impact, even more violent, as the ship's rear section collided with the ground. The lights failed, plunging them into darkness. The emergency systems fell silent. For a moment, Alex hung in his harness, stunned by the impact. His ears rang, his body ached everywhere. Then survival instincts kicked in. He released the harness, dropping to the tilted floor. Nylara, he called. Here, she responded, already free of her own restraints. Activate your emergency beacon. We must leave quickly. Alex pressed the button on his uniform collar, activating the standard issue emergency transponder. Standard procedure after a crash. But he hesitated. If I activate this, human forces will look for us. Is that wise with Zorek's people hunting you? Nylara nodded. My father will have alerted your commanders. Only loyalists will respond to the signal. They made their way through the wrecked ship. Emergency hatches had opened automatically during the crash, providing them with a path outside. When they finally emerged, Alex gasped at the sight. The Vexari ship had carved a massive gouge across the landscape. The main hull had split into 3 sections scattered across miles of open plain. In the distance, smoke rose from what must be the command section. Fire suppression. Systems battled the flames with limited success. "We are in the endless plains," Nylara said. The coordinates worked. "We are far from any settlements." Alex scanned their surroundings. The plains stretched in every direction. Tall purple grass swayed in, the breeze beneath a sky of pale green. This was his first time on Vexari Prime. The alien landscape both beautiful and disorienting. "What now?" he asked. "Now, we move away from the ship," Nylara said. "Those who survived will be looking for us. My father will send rescue. But Zorik's forces crashed with us. They will recover first." They set off across the plain, keeping the wreckage behind them. Nylara's knowledge of the terrain proved valuable. She led them toward a ridge of rock formations jutting from the grassland like the spine of some enormous beast. The twin suns of the Vexari system beat down on them. The heat was intense, especially for Alex. His human physiology struggled with the higher oxygen content and different atmospheric pressure of the alien world. Still, he pushed forward, keeping pace with the princess as they reached the rock formation. Nylara found a crevice large enough for them to hide in. It offered shade and concealment from aerial searches. "We will rest here," she said. She removed a small device from her belt, breaking it open to reveal a gel-like substance food. She explained, handing him a portion. "It will help your body adjust to our atmosphere." Alex accepted it gratefully. The gel tasted bitter, but he felt its effects almost immediately. His breathing eased. The pounding in his head subsided. "So, Princess," he said after finishing the gel, "what happens if your father's forces don't find us first?" Nylara gazed out across the plains. "General Zorix will not stop until I am dead. The alliance with humans broken. He has committed too much to turn back now. And if we make it back, what then?" She turned to face him, her golden eyes serious. "Then I return to my position. The daughter of the Supreme Commander. The treaty between our peoples is strengthened, and Yumi, you would be honored beyond any human before you, a hero to both our species." She paused, studying his face. "Perhaps more." Alex raised an eyebrow. More. Nylara looked away. "I have said too much." Before Alex could press further, the sound of engines reached them. A search craft moved across the sky, its design unmistakably. "Vexari, stay down," Alex whispered, pulling her deeper into the shadows. The craft circled the crash site, then began a systematic search pattern moving in their direction. "They have thermal sensors," Nylara whispered. "They will find us." The human soldier didn't know the alien woman, given to him as a slave, was actually a princess. The royal bunker was small but surprisingly comfortable. Alex explored while Nylara worked at a communication console. The main room contained sleeping, platforms, storage compartments, and a food preparation area. A separate chamber housed medical equipment. "How long has this been here?" Alex asked, examining the alien technology. "Since the last Great War," Nylara replied without looking up from her work. "My great-grandfather established these shelters throughout our territories. Hundreds exist known only to the royal family. Any luck with communications?" Nylara shook her head. "The atmospheric conditions are interfering with signals. The crash, likely. Damaged nearby relay stations we can receive but not transmit." "Great," Alex muttered. "So we can hear them but they can't hear us." The princess stood stretching in a fluid motion. Her royal bearing was fully evident now. No trace remaining of the submissive slave she'd pretended to be. "There are supplies here for many days. We can wait for rescue." Alex wasn't satisfied with waiting. He checked his weapons, finding only his combat knife remaining. His sidearm had been lost during the crash. Rummaging through the storage compartments, he found several Vexari weapons. He selected one that resembled a rifle, examining it carefully. "You know how to use that?" Nilara asked. Watching him, Alex shrugged. Not really, but the basic principles can't be that different. Point and shoot. The trick is knowing which end is which. A sound like tinkling bells filled the room. Nilara's laugh. It was the first time he'd heard her laugh freely without restraint. It transformed her face, making her look younger, less burdened. You continue. To surprise me, Alex Morgan, she said. Your species faces the unknown with such strange confidence. Alex smiled, checking the power cell on the weapon. Most humans would be terrified right now. I'm just well trained. And frankly, too busy staying alive to be properly scared. Nilara moved closer to him. Her golden eyes studied his face. You have questions, many, I think. Now is the time for answers. Alex set the weapon aside. You read me well. Princess, where should we start? Call me Nilara. When we are alone. At least Alex nodded, feeling a strange warmth at the invitation. All right, Nilara. Why did Zorix and his faction want to break the alliance with humans? So badly they'd risk everything. The princess sat cross-legged on one of the sleeping platforms, a surprisingly casual posture for royalty power. She said simply, the alliance threatens their control. My father has ruled for 200 cycles, what you would call years. His policies of cooperation have brought prosperity. But the old faction, the purists, they believe Vexari should dominate, not cooperate, and you support my father. I have seen what cooperation can achieve, what isolationism costs. She looked at him intently. Your people fascinate me. Humans are young as a spacefaring species, yet you adapt quickly. You build connections where others see only competition. You fight with remarkable spirit. Alex sat across from her. So the pale demon story is true, she confirmed. The Battle of Ceres Ridge. Your unit was surrounded. Krell forces. Closing in, Commander Zortax was injured. You carried him to safety, then returned to the battle, drawing enemy fire, allowing Vexari forces to regroup and counterattack. No Vexari would have done this for an alien commander. I did what any soldier would. Nilara shook her head. No. You did what only a human would do. The story spread quickly among our forces. A human risking everything for aliens. It changed perspectives. It threatened those who preached Vexari superiority. The shelter suddenly vibrated. Slightly, dust fell from the ceiling. A distant boom reached them even through the thick walls. They are bombing the crash site. Nilara said, standing, destroying evidence. Will they find us? The princess shook her head. These shelters are shielded against sensors, weapons. Even most Vexari technology cannot detect them. But she hesitated. They will search the plains. They know I survived. They must assume I reached a shelter. And they know where the shelters are. Some locations, perhaps. Not all, but given time, Alex understood the implications. Even if they were safe for now, eventually Zorix forces would find them. They needed to contact the Supreme Commander before that happened. The bunker's display screen suddenly activated, showing a broadcast. The image of General Zorix filled the screen. He stood in what appeared to be the grand hall of a Vexari government building. His uniform adorned with additional medals and insignia. He had not earned, people of the Vexari Empire. He announced, our beloved Supreme Commander Vex Tyran has fallen victim to human treachery. Nilara gasped, her hand flying to her mouth. Evidence has been uncovered, the general continued, of a plot to assassinate our leader. The human delegation conspired with traitorous elements. Within our own military, they will be brought to justice. In this time of crisis, I have assumed temporary leadership to stabilize our government, to protect our people lies. Nilara hissed, her composure cracking for the first time since Alex had known her all lies. The most tragic news, the general continued with false solemnity, concerns the first daughter, Princess Nilara. Her transport was destroyed by human saboteurs. No survivors have been found. The royal line has been broken. Alex watched as Nilara struggled to maintain her control. Her hands trembled. Her golden eyes blazed with fury. Effective immediately, Zorix declared all cooperation with Earth forces is suspended. Human vessels are ordered to leave Vexari space. Any remaining after 2 cycles will be considered hostile. A period of mourning has been declared. For our lost leader. For our princess. The broadcast ended. The screen showing various public reactions. Vexari citizens gathering in streets. Some weeping, others raising fists in anger toward the sky, toward distant Earth. My father, Nilara whispered. Is he truly? We don't know that. Alex said quickly. They declared you dead too. Remember, we can't trust anything they say. The princess nodded, but her eyes remained troubled. If my father lives, they will keep him hidden. Use him perhaps to legitimize their actions if he is truly gone. She straightened her shoulders visibly, gathering her royal bearing. Then I am Supreme Commander now. And my first act will be to crush this rebellion. Alex admired her resolve, but the practical soldier in him recognized their situation. We are 2 people in a bunker, with limited weapons against what seems to be a military coup that has taken control of the government. How exactly do we crush anything? Nilara gave him a look that reminded him sharply of who she was. I am not without resources. Alex Morgan. Even believed dead, I have protocols. Loyalists who will act upon certain signals. But first, we must leave this shelter. Reach a transmission point strong enough to send those signals. The ground shook again. More bombing. But closer this time. We need to move. Alex agreed. They are narrowing their search pattern. Nilara moved to a wall panel, pressing a sequence. The wall slid, open, revealing a narrow tunnel. All shelters connect underground, she explained. This leads to a secondary exit 2 miles from here. Alex gathered the weapons and supplies they would need. The Vexari rifle, several power cells for it, emergency rations, water purification tablets, and a medical kit designed for Vexari physiology. He hoped he wouldn't need to use it on Nilara. The tunnel was low forcing. Alex to stoop. Nilara moved ahead of him, her natural night vision an advantage in the dimly lit passage. They traveled in silence, each lost in thought. Alex considered their options. None seemed particularly good. If Zorix had truly seized power, the entire planet would be looking for them. Escape seemed impossible. After what felt like hours, the tunnel began to slope upward. Nilara paused at a junction, checking markings on the wall. We are nearly there, she said. The secondary exit is just ahead. But she hesitated. We should be cautious. Alex nodded, taking the lead. The passage ended at a circular hatch. Listening carefully, he could hear nothing from the other side. He turned the manual release slowly. The hatch opened, revealing a small cave. Beyond it, he could see the purple grass of the plains and the green sky now darkening as evening approached. Wait. Here, he told Nilara. Let me check first. Alex emerged cautiously, scanning their surroundings. The cave entrance was concealed by rock formations, similar to those where they'd found the first shelter. The plains stretched around them, seemingly empty, but in the distance he could see smoke rising from multiple locations. More crash debris, perhaps, or signs of the search parties. Something caught his attention, a flicker of movement among the grass. He raised the Vexari rifle, focusing on the spot. There definitely movement. And approaching back inside, he whispered to Nilara, something's coming. They retreated deeper into the cave, weapons ready. As the footsteps grew closer, Alex took aim, ready to fire at the first sign of threat. A figure appeared. At the entrance, tall blue-skinned Vexari. But the uniform was different from Zorix's forces. The markings indicated Imperial Guard. Nilara exclaimed, lowering her weapon. The guard spotted them instantly, weapon raised until recognition dawned. Princess, he gasped. Dropping to one knee, Nilara stepped forward. How did you find us? The guard rose. Your emergency beacon, Highness. A coded signal reached the Royal Guard. We tracked it here. Captain Lin leads the rescue force. They await beyond the ridge. Alex followed as Nilara and the guard moved quickly through the grass, staying low. The ridge the guard mentioned was barely visible in the fading light. As they approached, Alex could see more Vexari soldiers, their armor bearing the royal crest, a female. Vexari stepped forward when they arrived. Captain Lin, at your service, Highness, she said, bowing deeply. We feared you lost, Nilara acknowledged the captain with a nod. The situation. The human soldier didn't know the alien woman. Given to him as a slave was actually a Princess Alex, and Nilara sprinted through the tall purple grass. Energy bolts sizzled past them, cutting swaths through the vegetation. Behind them, the sounds of battle continued. The Imperial guards providing covering fire, buying them precious seconds. Keep moving, Alex urged as Nilara stumbled on the uneven ground. Don't look back. They reached the gap in the enemy line. Alex fired the Vexari rifle in quick bursts, forcing the soldiers to take cover. The unfamiliar weapon was more powerful than he expected. The recoil sending vibrations through his arms, a bolt struck near his feet, sending up a spray of dirt and grass. Another passed so close he felt its heat against his face, but they pushed forward, breaking through the enemy position. The eastern ridge loomed ahead, a natural fortress of jagged rocks and deep shadows. If they could reach it, they might find cover, regroup, plan their next move. Almost. There Alex gasped, his lungs burning from exertion, the alien atmosphere making each breath a struggle. A cry from behind made him turn. Nilara had fallen. An energy bolt had grazed her leg. The wound wasn't serious, but she struggled to stand. Alex rushed back to her, half carrying her as they covered the remaining distance to the ridge. They collapsed behind the rocks, breathing heavily. The sounds of pursuit faded temporarily. The Imperial guards had bought them time with their lives. Let me see your leg, Alex said, examining the wound. The energy weapon had seared the flesh but hadn't penetrated deeply. Vexari physiology was resilient. The princess would recover quickly. You should have left me, Nilara said, wincing as Alex applied a healing gel from their medical supplies. I put you at risk. Alex gave her a look that needed no translation. Not an option. They rested briefly, assessing their situation. The ridge provided good cover, but they couldn't stay. The enemy would regroup, search the area. They needed to keep moving. Find another way to reach safety. Can you walk? Alex asked as he helped Nilara to her feet. The princess tested her injured leg. It will suffice, she said, though perhaps not for running. Alex scanned their surroundings. The twin moons of Vexari Prime had risen, providing enough light to see. They were in a region of scattered rock formations and shallow ravines. To the north, he could make out what appeared to be a forest. The trees tall with glowing blue leaves, the forest. Alex decided if we can reach it, the trees will provide better cover. Plus, their bioluminescence might confuse tracking sensors. Nilara nodded in agreement. The sacred groves. Very few Vexari enter them. They are considered dwelling places of ancestral spirits. Superstition works in our favor, for once, Alex said. They moved carefully, using the rocks for cover before making their way across open ground toward the forest. Nilara leaned on Alex, her injured leg slowing their pace. But they pushed forward, each step taking them farther from their pursuers. The forest, when they reached it, was unlike anything Alex had seen. The trees towered hundreds of feet into the air, their trunks a deep purple, almost black. The leaves glowed with soft blue light, creating an ethereal atmosphere. The ground was covered with a carpet of moss that seemed to shimmer with each footstep. It's beautiful, Alex whispered. The sacred groves are the oldest living things on our world, Nilara said. Some trees are said to be over 10,000 years old. They remember the time before Vexari achieved spaceflight, before the Great Wars. It is said they hold the wisdom of ages. They moved deeper into the forest. The glowing leaves, casting enough light to see by Nilara, seemed to draw strength from the place. Her steps becoming more assured, her bearing more regal. After an hour of walking, they stopped beside a small pool, the water perfectly clear, reflecting the blue glow from above. Nilara knelt, drinking deeply. Alex joined her, the water cool and sweet. The princess studied him in the blue light. You have done more than could be asked of any soldier, Alex Morgan. You have no obligation to continue this fight. It is not your world, not your people, at stake. Alex met her gaze. After what I have, seen it as my fight too. Those men back there, they don't just want to overthrow your father, they want to end the Alliance, attack Earth. They made it my fight. Nylara nodded, a small smile touching her lips. I believed you would say this. Still I had to offer. Where do we go from here? Alex asked. The Royal Sanctuary, Nylara replied. It lies beyond these groves, a hidden stronghold. From there we can contact Loyalist forces, coordinate with human command if possible. And how far is this sanctuary? 3 days' journey on foot, she admitted. Less if we find transportation. Alex checked their supplies, food and water for maybe 2 days, not enough. He would need to find more. Somehow a sound reached them, distant but growing closer. The whine of engines, search, craft. They had been followed after all. We need to move, Alex said, gathering their meager supplies. Nylara shook her head. They cannot land here. The trees are too dense. They will search the perimeter. Wait for us to emerge, so we're trapped. Not trapped. Protected. The princess stood looking up at the ancient trees. Strange ally, but a powerful one. They made camp in a hollow between massive roots. The moss formed a natural cushion softer than any military bunk Alex had known. He took first watch while Nylara rested, her Vexari physiology already healing the leg wound. As night deepened, the forest grew more alive. Creatures called from the canopy above. Lights that were not leaves drifted between trees. Small flying beings, perhaps. Or something else. Entirely. The sacred groves were aptly named. There was something otherworldly about them. Something ancient and aware. Alex found himself thinking about how much had changed in so little time. Days ago he had been Corporal Alex Morgan, a soldier following orders, fighting someone else's war. Now he was the protector of an alien princess, the possible savior of 2 worlds if they succeeded, or the catalyst for interstellar war if they failed. No pressure. Nylara stirred beside him, her golden eyes reflecting the blue glow from above. You should rest, she said. I will watch. Alex shook his head. Not tired lies, the princess said, but her tone was gentle. You humans require more sleep than Vexari. You have been awake for nearly 2 full cycles, he couldn't argue. With that his body ached with fatigue, his mind growing foggy. Still he hesitated. I will wake you if anything approaches. Nylara promised. I am not entirely helpless. Corporal, Alex smiled at her formal use of his rank. You never were, princess. He settled, beside her, using his pack as a pillow. Despite his concerns, sleep came quickly. The last thing he saw was Nylara silhouetted against the glowing forest, her posture alert, protective. The dream came without warning. Alex found himself back on Earth, the sky burning, ships, falling cities in ruins. He ran through streets he recognized, his hometown. But everything was destroyed, everyone gone. He called out names, but no one answered. Then he was on the Vexari ship again. Nylara before him, but different. Her eyes cold, her voice cruel. You failed, human, she said. Your world burns, your people die, all because you were not strong enough. Alex woke with a start, his heart pounding, sweat soaking his uniform. The forest around him, peaceful, undisturbed. Nylara sat nearby, watching him with concern. Bad dreams? She asked. Alex nodded, sitting up. The worst kind. The ones that feel like premonitions. The princess offered him water. I understand. Our minds process fears differently during sleep, but the fears remain. The same, he drank gratefully. How long did I sleep? Several hours. The searchcraft circled, then departed. They cannot penetrate the canopy. They will wait. Alex checked his weapons. Out of habit more than necessity, the Vexari rifle still had sufficient charge. They had limited ammunition, but in the forest they might not need it. The trees themselves provided defense. We should move, Nylara said, rising gracefully. Deeper into the grove. The heart of the forest is safer. They traveled through the day, stopping occasionally to rest, to drink from clear pools. The forest grew denser, The trees older, their trunks wider than buildings. Some had fallen, creating natural bridges across ravines. Others had grown together, forming living cathedrals of wood. And glowing leaves, as evening approached, they reached what appeared to be the center of the grove. A massive clearing where the largest tree Alex had ever seen stood alone. Its trunk must have been 100 feet across. Its canopy, spreading like a blue glowing umbrella over the clearing. The mother tree, Nylara said, her voice hushed with reverence. The first tree. The oldest living thing on our world. Alex stared up at the enormous tree, feeling suddenly insignificant beside such ancient life. What is this place exactly? The heart of the sacred grove. Nylara replied. The place where my ancestors first communed with the forest, where they learned the secrets of life that led to our advancement as a species. She approached the massive trunk, placing her hand against the rough bark, closing her eyes. The air around them seemed to shift. A feeling Alex couldn't describe settled over the clearing. Not quite sound, not quite light, but something perceivable. The princess stepped back, opening her eyes. We are welcome here, she said. We may rest safely. They made camp at the base of the mother tree. Alex found himself relaxing. Truly, relaxing for the first time since the coup began. Something about this place felt secure, protected, as they shared their rations. Nylara spoke of her world, of its history, its connection to the forests that had once covered much of the surface of her people's journey from forest dwellers to star travelers. It was the first time she had spoken so openly about herself, about her culture.